at some point this season. Also outside chance of Ghost at the AD carry role, but CJ still have to really find that identity that will actually translate into game wins, because for now, none on the board.
Not at all. We can see straight into pick and ban here for game 2. Afreeca now over on the blue side. First ban is going to be Kindred.
See how the draft goes. We saw a big pinch on mid lane champion pool in game 1, so we'll see if there is a change to that. You know, we saw Azir, LeBlanc, many mid laners banned away. We'll see the Twisted Fate Respect ban.
Yeah,
Zed went unanswered in game 1. I, for one, really want to see a Zed game between these two.
I think it'd be really exciting to see. But for now, it seems like it's just going to be pretty consistent here for Afreeca. They banned both of these on red side last time. Do they want to ban the Swain again is going to be the question. We can see Ryze not going to make it through this time.
I don't think there's a world where Nidalee is not the last ban for CJ Entus. So the question for Afreeca is, knowing that you can almost certainly expect a Nidalee ban, what do you ban on blue and then first pick away to not give 2 power picks to CJ Entus? I think Bard is the answer to that. I think if you ban Bard on blue side, you're going to be in a really good spot draft-wise. But they actually ban away the Swain, interestingly enough.
Still going to be Swain. So we don't know if that's necessarily targeted at top or mid lane. Could be either or. But still just don't want to deal with it, so they take it away. So Bard going to be available unless CJ were to ban it, but like you said, Nidalee, this makes all too much sense.
I mean, Nidalee, lirA is a fantastic Nidalee player. I think they will for sure pick it first pick. CJ, ban the Nidalee as expected.
Yep.
I want to see lirA's Lee Sin. He's a fantastic Lee Sin. If you remember that game 1, the game 2 he played in the first series, he was pulling off amazing insect plays. But I don't know if we've seen enough pinch on the jungle pool with Elise and Rek'Sai available to actually opt into the Lee Sin. But if they reach for another lane and then are forced into a late rotation Lee Sin, there is the outside chance we'll see it.
So if you're Afreeca, what do you go for as a first pick here? Ekko available?
I think the Maokai is the safest choice. The Maokai gave them so much value in the last game. Ekko, as you say, is possible if he wants to play lane pressure, but I think ikssu is more typified by his teleport pressure and team fight presence than his laning presence, so I don't think you need to pick him a pressure laner, so I think the Maokai makes more sense for him.
Thinking about this Lucian as well.
Surprising to see such little priority on Caitlyn this series. Remember, Caitlyn seemed to scream out.
I mean, Sangyoon on Caitlyn is very good.
He played Caitlyn already, I believe, this season, but he definitely played it last season. So Caitlyn has risen in priority, but will not be represented in this game, as far as we can see.
He got his MVP, I believe, in his first game by playing Caitlyn.
CJ might be sticking with something they know in the Ekko that would almost certainly lead to another Ekko versus Maokai top lane matchup.
Yep. How enthralling.
Yay.
It's okay. We don't have to worry about this for much longer.
Why are you complaining? Maokai puts out over 30,000 damage in matches, apparently.
That's true.
That's what we learned in game 1. The battle Maokai.
It doesn't look like it, but he's doing it.
Well, it's because he's actually always there. That's the thing, is that he hits about 400 arcane smashes a team fight and adds up.
All right, well, it will be the Ezreal and Ekko pickup here for the side of CJ. So Kramer going to be really comfortable on that ADC. We saw, entire matches from him last split where he just didn't die throughout the entire 3-game set. Not sure if he's going to be able to do that this time around, but we also need to see what Sangyoon's going to do with this Lucian. I have a feeling he's not going to have the same approach as Kramer and won't be going for that Youmuu's Ghostblade into Black Cleaver.
lirA tantalizes us with a litany of jungle picks, but Rek'Sai seems to be the one that he's spending the most time hovering. Waiting for Afreeca to really show us something about their comp. Might be a takeaway pick here.
This would be good. SnowFlower played one hell of a Bard.
I just think Bard allows MadLife to baby Haru, and that sounds harsh, but basically MadLife is very smart at conceptualizing fights, understands how to roam, how to gank, and if you're Bard, you're basically saying, I'm going to put down this magical journey, take it, and we'll gank now. And it's very hard to do that on other champions.
You walk in here, you hit these people that aren't in this ultimate.
So I love this takeaway, and Bard Rek'Sai is one of the scariest jungle support duos because Rek'Sai walks around with complete information in the enemy jungle, and Bard opens up plays that aren't possible with other supports. So I really like what Afreeca is doing.
Not only that, but the Bard Lucian, just a very punishing bot lane.
Punishment aplenty with the first 3 picks, but action over to CJ. showing us a bubbling special, hovering the Gragas.
As long as he can
Party
play
cast.
it a little bit better than
That's
his
true.
former.
Maybe bubbling just like to party, you know?
Yeah, that could be a way to put it.
This may force MadLife onto Nami due. That's been his secondary pick. MadLife has been playing mostly the range supports, so Soraka and Nami have been kind of his cornerstones. But again, it's not the same fear that you play as you play against MadLife's Bard. It will be locked in, and Gragas is confirmed. So CJ must like playing Gragas as an orc because it feels like they're still pulling for this Gragas pick in a meta where Gragas has fallen pretty far down in terms of priority.
He used to be massive, even when Bubbling was playing him.
I mean, look, he still hasn't really lost a lot of play. He's still pretty massive.
Okay, fair enough.
I know he's trying to trim down. He told me specifically.
I mean, it's all that drinking. You know how many calories that is?
Oh dear. Well, you can be the one to tell him to stop drinking because I tried.
Right.
It was awkward.
All right, I'll sit him down in a room with all of his loved ones and peers, and we need to have a talk, Gragas.
How has he not had an intervention already? He actually
know.
drinks faster and more often than he used to.
He probably has, but he was probably just drunk through the intervention, so he wakes up the next morning and he doesn't remember that it actually occurred. And here we go! Alrighty.
Well, that's going to be Mickey.
Looks like Mickey's been watching every other region.
Ghost Flash Vlad is bringing it back. Reaper, the new coach of Cloud9, was the man who debuted. It was top lane, but it still was the Ghost Flash Vladimir. Back in good old Season 2, maybe the early days of Season 3, and it's going to be on full display in the mid lane unless there's a champion that he feels respectful enough to take something like the Cleanse. And Maokai, as expected, in the top lane. So the team fighting of this comp is insane. And guess what? 30%, so 10 extra % on that Maokai damage is actually going to be respectable values.
It's like, oh, you want AoE? We
Even
got your
more.
AoE.
Yeah.
Vengeful Maelstrom, Bard Ultimate, the Hemo Plague. There's just AoE aplenty, and we can see BDD playing around with the idea of this Viktor. We saw Mickey play this last game. It was all right.
Victor's Victor. He does his thing. He clears waves. Very, very safe.
I mean, there's like Viktor, and then there's like Crown's Viktor.
I mean,
which is way more impressive.
I mean, Kuro's Victor also.
Kuro
legendary.
as well.
But the interesting thing is that Vladimir has been a pick into Viktor in every scene that we've seen. LPL, EU LCS, NA LCS. People have been liking the Vladimir matchup, and we're going to see it again. But this is with the Viktor being the answering pick. BDD has a deep champion pool. Obviously, an assassin like Zed doesn't really make sense in this case, so he goes for the wave clear that, it's worth noting, Ezreal doesn't really provide. So even though they have decent wave clear from the Ekko and the Gragas, Viktor provides that in spades. And this is our first data point on LCK Vladimir. It won't be the last one.
Nope. Well, this will be interesting. If we know Mickey for anything, it's that sometimes when he pulls out these new champions that he's showing that he doesn't go that well.
If we know anything about Mickey, is he likes to go ham, and Ghost Flash Vladimir gets in there.
That is pretty ham.
About as ham as can be hoped for. So really nice team comp from Afreeca. Good power spikes, good assortment, fights for objectives very well with the AoE from the Maokai and the Vladimir, but the team fighting comp from CJ is very much solid as well. So pretty similar power spikes for both these teams. It's just interesting to track how does SnowFlower go on the Bard, because it's a takeaway pick.
I mean, we saw this from him before, and it was pretty magnificent. So if he can play anywhere near what he did before, it'd be pretty incredible to watch.
And CJ goes back to the Grab as well.
He just needs to not play like he did when he had Blitzcrank, that's all.
That's fair. That's not a high bar, though.
That's not.
That game. Oh, boy.
But, I don't know. We'll see what happens. Get into game 2 right here. Afreeca looking for a 2-0. CJ looking for a match win. All right, we'll kick things off with the Mountain Drake. CJ fans still holding on tight.
Guys aren't familiar with esports orgs and fandom in Korea. It's very much org specific. People will stick by an org like CJ, just like the Samsung fans stuck by Samsung even after they lost their entire roster and coaching staff 2 years ago. So the CJ fans haven't had a lot to cheer for in a long time, but steadfast in their support of this lineup.
It's kind of like American football. Some people hold on no
Oh
matter
boy.
what. Look at this play coming in already. Double stun on the Cosmic Binding. Flash forward by Iksu. He's got the twisted advance. A flash over the wall from BDD will take him to safety. Looks like that's going to be it.
Holy crap, that was like a jump scare of initiation. I was like, what's happening? Oh my god.
Yeah, I was about to like trash talk some American football teams, and all of a sudden we had some fights breaking out. I was like, all right. The Eagles suck. That's what I was going to get to.
You would.
That was going to be my ending point.
Further of battle, Ekko is definitely catching on. The first person I saw this was Someday, but it's all about those extended trays to try and find a win, especially with Grasp of the Undying nerfed so many times in a row. And, oh, it's Observer points this. We actually have Strength of the Ages from Mickey in the mid lane on the Vladimir.
Oh, yeah.
So Thunderlaws is an outside chance, Deathfire Touch as an outside chance, but Storm Raider Surge actually interesting once you get enough AP
Yeah.
to do your best Ryze impression, but I guess with the Ghost it's not as necessary. But interesting, so just going to go for more health, and of course the health to AP scaling was buffed when the AP to health scaling was nerfed. So building health in general is now more attractive. It's one of the reasons why Spirit Visage is very much the first purchase, because you get, again, more ability power from that health than you used to. Expect this to be Spirit Visage into Ryze, and then situational build is basically how, and Zonia's as well, of course, pretty core. So that's where we go with our Vladimir builds these days.
Well, you can see the rotation happened here, initiated by the side of Afreeca, sending Sangyoon and SnowFlower up to that top side. So it's going to be a late join from ikssu into the jungle, and Untara is going to do the same. But overall, it's going to be pretty matched. If they can go for this turret shove, this could be in the hands of Afreeca. That Lucian has potential to take the turrets a little bit faster than that Ezreal, unless he gets those 5 stacks on his passive.
Tempo seems pretty similar between the teams. So not going to be jumping out to any big advantages as we learn a little bit more about the reworked Vladimir.
It's a nice top catch.
Well, there was an arrow towards the person next to them who didn't actually represent Tahm Kench that much.
I mean, I didn't think she looked like Tahm Kench, but maybe I need to update my prescription.
That's true. You wear glasses, that means you're clever. Korean esports seems to suggest that. A lot of badass poses with glasses here.
Yeah. It's fine by me. We're getting ready to see this new E, though, in action from the Vladimir.
New
now,
E, the new tides of blood.
Yeah, now has a new...
You like that?
I couldn't take that seriously. Yeah, now it erupts outward rather than being like an instant cast hitting everybody around you.
I think it's fun because, of course, it used to have that stacking mechanic, which basically meant that as you walked to lane, you had to cancel your movement command because you had to keep spamming your E. Now it's a channeled ability where you can decide how long it is and the damage is accordingly. So it's still got a little bit of the old flavor, but it's not kind of that weird mini-game situation you had to play before. And the Hema Plague, the big story there is that it provides a lot of the healing that used to be gated around Spell Vamp. So now your first target hit with the ultimate heals for 150, scaling up, and from there you get reduced gains in terms of healing per enemy champion hit. So a lot of sustain potentially pops out from the Hema Plague. Slightly lower amount of bonus damage on on all damage comes through than before. So just a suite of changes. Seems very powerful. Been a very big pick in other regions. We just haven't seen it in Korea until now.
We'll rotate back down to the bottom side with Sangyoon and SnowFlower, just looking to avoid MadLife and Kramer as long as they can, it seems. So we'll send Untara back, and looks like he's just going to swap right back up for the top, so they're just going to keep mirroring this as long as they need to. We can see the call coming in as well as the long sword for Sangyoon, so he will be going for that Yomu's Ghost Blade into the Dirk and Caulfield's Warhammer.
Observer again illustrating the missing health sustain value that comes through from the Q. You can actually get massive bursts of health from this ability once you empower it with the first charge of the transfusion. I've seen 16,000 heals in the late game. Well, 1,600. 16,000 will be outrageous.
Yeah, I was going to say, what?
Some place value issues there, but you get the point.
Putting your decimal.
Yeah, just one decimal over. Sorry, guys. It's been a long day. This is potentially our last game of Champions Summer for the week.
For the week 2. And then we start with week 3. And
that's
just
the thing,
is
like,
days.
At some point when you have 6 days a week, it doesn't really feel like weeks. It feels like we have.
Yeah.
It's just a large blob of champions. But it's been a great one. That's the fun thing. It's been a really great couple of weeks of action.
Yeah, and we have another great week coming up. I mean, just to start things off, we have Rocks versus SKT on Monday night.
One day to collect yourself, and you can have fun with that one, Achilles.
Yeah, it'll be a blast. And then Longzhu CJ. That should be a pretty even game.
Someone has to win it, I guess.
It'll tell us who is the best worst team. Or the... Well,
no, not the worst best team.
The worst team.
Yeah, the worst. So the last team is what you're going to say. The last placed lineup will be confirmed on that day. We see the purchase. Now, the other item that's been built a lot, it's worth knowing, because you see Kindle Gem into the Null Magic Mantle, and your first thought is obviously Spirit Visage, but very much could be the Proto Belt that's actually been built a lot on Vladimir players. Does also build out of Kindle Gem.
Could be. Be interested. I mean, we haven't seen a single Proto Belt in Champions so far.
It's a really cool item, so for those of you that, you know, kind of really racking their brains as to which one the Proto Belt is, and I was the one who said that Zonia still builds out of the Nidalee Rod, so we got a lot to remember. It's the one that gives you, as you say, a short-range dash. Calling it a flash is a little bit of a misnomer. It's not quite that distance, but it does give a dash on a 40-second cooldown compared to the 5-minute cooldown of flash. And when you're Vladimir, one of the reasons why it builds so well is that you get double scaling, as we're going to see ikssu chase down.
Yeah, still pretty okay, but uses the flashes to be safe.
It was actually a bit disrespectful of ikssu to be so far down with no turrets.
That's true.
In the top and bot when it comes to outer turrets. But
also
just to return,
didn't really know where Haru was at the time either.
But just to return to Proto Belt, it gives you quite a significant amount of health, which now has really good AP scaling for Vladimir. But also, if you consider his ultimate, Hemo Play gives damage amplification. You get amplification onto the damage from the Proto Belt as well. So in many different ways, it actually suits Vladimir pretty uniquely.
Yep. Looks like we're going to have a split onto the tier 2s in the bottom and top side. Kramer throwing out the True Shot Barrage, but not really going to thin out that wave too much. So both of these should be taken at similar times.
So to me, this actually gives the advantage to the Afreeca Freecs for a couple of reasons. One of them is that we talked already about the roaming crew of Bard and Rek'Sai now having such wide spaces to get behind and create impressive picks. But at some point this game, Mickey will enter a side lane, and BDD doesn't have teleport to answer that so cleanly, and Mickey has Ghost Flash.
Yeah,
so in a long lane, when you have an item and then you get the Ryze, Adventure, and Vlad, good luck getting away from the Vladimir. So in multiple different ways, I think long lanes really actually support the lineup that we see from Afreeca Freecs. So they seem pretty happy to opt into it.
Yeah, be really good as well when you hit that max level and that Ghost starts giving you 45% movement speed.
People kind of sleep on the fact that at every point, Ghost now gives more movement speed. Before it used to be 27% flat. A bit more when you have distortion boots, but 27% flat. SnowFlower.
Oh yeah, gonna get knocked back with the explosive cask immediately. Flashes. It's a nice Cosmic Binding. Is it enough? They both go through the magical journey. Haru, can he finish him off? It doesn't look like it, but the Ignite will actually find him in the end. And Haru in a bad spot. Looks like he's going to go down. He does. The Hemo Plague finishing him off. And now BDD chunked out low. Going to be pretty close, but that was a Jungle Force support, so not too bad. But First Blood still goes over to CJ.
Nice reactions from Afreeca to get something out of it. SnowFlower didn't just have enough space yet. They took a couple of hits from the Raptors as well. Ended up going down to that last tick of the Ignite.
What keystone is Haru running? Because he didn't get the kill credit.
That's a good question. I wasn't actually tracking that. You have to assume Strength of the Ages, so it could have been a hit from the Skirmisher's Saber, because he does have Skirmisher's Saber, so that could have been a tick from that ability. But that's the only thing to me that does, or red buff, of course. I didn't track if he had a red buff at the time.
That's a good point as well.
But it would have been some dot.
Okay.
Better than Nami picking it up.
Well, Mickey doesn't have a red buff, so it doesn't look like it would be that.
I'm guessing Skirmisher's Saber then.
Okay. Would be the safest bet. Yeah, I thought it was the Ignite, and then all of a sudden Haru popped up, and I was like, okay.
And Proto Belt confirmed. All right, first Proto Belt in Champions.
There we go. LCK.
That's true. We are LCK. It's League of Legends Champions Korea, so.
You're not incorrect.
You're right.
But you're not completely correct either.
Well, it is what it is. So the 300 health will interact with ability power nice and cleanly for Mickey. I just want to see the Proto Belt cast.
I just want to see what kind of entry he's going to make into some of these fights, because Mickey's known for having some pretty funny entries.
Look, you don't need to like think about it. You know exactly what's going to happen. Ghost, Flash, Proto Belt, right in the middle of a fight. That's what he's going to do.
Can you jump walls with Proto Belt?
Very, very thin walls, perhaps.
So like Baron and Dragon, perhaps?
don't actually know 100%. It is a very short range. Definitely not all the walls that Flash can go through is all I can say on that particular regard.
Be interesting to see if he can do that. So we'll have to keep our eye on it. For now, though, he's got a pretty good CS lead in this mid lane. You know, that innate sustain is really paying off for him so far.
All I'm saying is that Mickey likes to get in there, irrespective of champion.
Yes, he does.
He'll find a way.
Again, his very famous entry on Corki. Straight into 4 members in the jungle with a package.
You call it entry, I call it suicide.
Well, it was both. It was very easily both. You can see this tower in the mid taking a lot of damage. lirA just now arriving.
Untara's getting free farm at the same time, and it's worth noting that the big loser in the lane swap has been Maokai at 25 CS. Only has swiftness boots and double Dorans and a ruby crystal for any semblance of combat stats. But he's very much in panic mode.
Yeah, he's going to be really squishy. I mean, he's also, yeah, he's just so far behind in the levels right now. I mean, just 1 level down from Untara, but SnowFlower already getting ready to hit 6, Sangyoon at 8, Mickey at 9, lirA at 8. He's
well, this is what happens when
get some CS
the lane swap is extended, and also ikssu got greedy trying for CS, had to blow his flash, then couldn't enter lane the same way that Untara could. See CJ committing to the Mountain Drake.
Well, this would be a really good pickup for them. Help them take these objectives. Iksu's going to spot them, but would certainly be a suicide mission to try and go in and stop this one, so just going to have to let it go over.
Yeah, CJ realized that the backs were coming through for both bot laners of the Afreeca Freecs.
It's another Mountain Drake.
All right.
All right, it's a double Mountain Drake.
That is what CJ have to climb, a double mountain. But so far, 1 in the pocket is good times for them.
Yep. Need to make sure they close out this one here and then have a strong game in the third.
No guarantees.
They are not looking so hot right now.
See lirA trying to steal away the enemy red. Oh, nicely claimed.
That's his red. He can't. He does get it.
Afreeca have really pigeonholed themselves trying to take this outer turret. Now, difficult to do that against Vladimir's wave clear. It seems like a low percentage move, but they've been steadfast at fighting around this mid lane, ARAM style. Maokai finally finds a big wave to himself, so that will help ikssu get items. Worth knowing that Maokai has a very low item floor, so as long as he picks up 1 tank item, he'll be fine. Nami still persists and not shutting up.
Just had to pick that skip. Troll. Pretty much.
At least Korean Lyssandra's been spared.
Oh, Korean Lysandra. I just don't. I would love to sit down with the person who decided like that was what Lysandra was going to do in the game.
Well, see, the big factor is that Lysandra had much longer cooldowns on her Q before, so it would have been different to hearing blah every 2.2 seconds. It's supposed to be every 5 seconds.
It's just like, what's going on with her, man? Like
she woke up on the wrong side of the bed, okay?
She's got some kind of condition.
Haven't you had days where you woke up saying blah? I've seen you drink
I can't say that I have.
I've seen you drink Achilles. You've had 1 or 2 of those days.
I don't know about that. See, though, rotating back over to this mid side. This is just going to be the rally point, it seems, for both of these squads.
SnowFlower still level 5.
MadLife gets caught, takes a ton of damage. Calling comes across, but BDD's there to body block. The Ignite not going to finish him out. But a nice pick off there. It's going to send him packing back to the fountain.
So SnowFlower desperately needs level 6 to actually make these turret dive plays where he can clip either the turret or multiple members from CJ and force an objective.
He does have 6 now.
Let's see how the first the first ultimate changes the game. Tempered Fate. There you go, reached for it. Spirit Visage probably going to be the second item from Mickey, but he hasn't shopped in a while since he got that proto belt. Just a weird game where we just don't usually have inner turrets in both top and bot down so early. So the farming phase is very intermittent. It feels like there's a lot of time where it's too risky to push up the bottom lane because you don't have vision. So you just kind of go chill in mid. You called it the rally point. It always is to some degree, but especially with how the lane swap has gone, it's like this is the only safe place to be. So maybe we'll get 3 autos on the outer turret. That's all you can really get.
Yeah. So we can see, I mean, the CS here for the side of Afreeca really creating this gold lead that we see for them. It's about a 1.2 thousand now at this point.
Well, Mickey's just it just not respected anything about jungle pressure from Haru. He's been basically under the enemy turret the whole time. You usually expect Viktor to have a CS advantage in this lane.
But even lirA, though, look, he's about to hit 90 CS, and Haru's at 60. He's already got the H's completed.
It's another one of those games where you just do the math and you go, okay, about 33 CS advantage in the mid lane, about 25 to 28 CS advantage in the jungle, and although in the top lane you're down 23, that's still 30, 35 unanswered CS that just hasn't been picked up by CJ with how they've rotated around the map.
Yep.
Look at this fight, it's epic.
Oh, I'm enthralled. Next we'll watch paint dry.
Why does Gragas have double Sapphire Crystal? Why would you ever buy...
So he could chug more.
Why would you ever have double Sapphire Crystal? That reminds me of when Cloud Templar got epically tilted when support bought double Amp Tome towards their their Zeke's Herald. They actually had the double Amp Tome and the armor item, the Glacial Shroud, in their inventory. It's like, why would you ever do that? It's useless. That's how I feel about double Sapphire Crystal.
Yeah, I mean, he just, he wants to...
Look, if you want to build your Aegis slowly with double Ruby, sure.
He wants to cast his W more and drink more.
He's not running out of mana, he's Gragas.
Apparently he thinks he's running out of mana. I don't know, man. I'm just trying to think of something. Trying to give you the answers. I'm like devil's advocate. This is not working.
It's a bubbling up Farouk build.
Yeah. Haru, where did you learn to play Gragas? Oh, I learned everything that I know from bubbling. That makes sense.
Bubbling's a really good solo queue jungler. Top 50 challenger consistently.
And then you put him on a squad and suddenly everything goes awry.
I feel bad piling on him. I think he may still have a future. I think he'll play at some point this season. You have to at some point. You look at Blanc, a guy who, Kuzan was doing very well and they still gave Blanc a chance. You have to assume because of solo queue.
Yeah, it's possible. Kramer going in. Speaking of going in, Ikssu's going to get hit up there. Gravity Field comes down. It's not going to catch anybody. Mickey going to use the Sangyoon pool to go ahead and get himself up.
That's some healing.
That's a lot of healing.
So one interaction that fans might not know is that previously when you were in stasis or in your pool, if you would have sustained off something like Hemoplague during that time, you wouldn't actually get the healing because you weren't counted as a champion in combat. Now he will receive the ultimate healing at any point, whether he's pulled or in Zonias. So more reliable at getting that top-up health for the Vladimir.
So just keeping himself healthy, and so far it's just going to be the game stagnating for a little while here.
Well, Vladimir's free farming, so he's happy.
He's very happy. He's 36 ahead. Second Dragon's up, though. It's another Mountain Drake. And that could be pretty good for CJ if they can get the second one. Really make it easy for them to take some turrets.
Thanks. Afreeca really want to break the mid lane turret and then go for the rotation we spoke about with Vladimir in the side lane. Speaking of Vladimir.
There it is. The Proto Belt uses the same pool to follow up as well. So gets himself to safety. He's just waiting for that marshmallow to drop into the cocoa, and then he's going to go ahead, sip on that, and get healthy again. Or he's just going to transfuse. Whatever. Doesn't matter.
Whichever comes first.
Oh, wow. That was a big chunk out of BDD.
You're going to get bigger. It's only 2-item Vladimir. Another reason why Vlad can so happily enter side lanes like we outlined earlier is that it doesn't crave the blue buff, so you're not sacrificing relevant statistics for the Vladimir. You can happily give that to Lucian, have him wave clear in mid, but they've been steadfast in keeping the Vlad in mid, I guess mainly to allow him to hit 3 items. If he gets Rylized, then parks himself in a side lane, not really anyone outside of maybe Untara that you could put against him.
I mean, you also want to give those side lanes over to Ikssu at the moment because of how far behind he was.
Sure.
So helps catch him back up. You can see though this Dragon's getting started and all of CJ's collapsing
CJ's
down.
going to be in position
Ikssu
first.
has not used the teleport yet. It's coming in on the tunnel. It's going to be the Dragon going over by
comes
lirA.
Vlad.
MadLife and BDD caught up with the Cosmic Planning. He's not going to connect the throw down to Gravity Field to try to zone them out. They're just going to turn straight onto Untara. Uses the ultimate, but I don't think he's going to get out of this one alive, and he does not. Sangyoon finding the second kill for Afreeca Freecs. So a Dragon and a kill. Nice pickup here.
But you can see the bigger problem. Look at the difference in Summoner Spell expendage in that fight. Everyone flashed defensively from CJ that had their flash available. Afreeca hold on to flashes for most of their members. So although we didn't see a massive team fight changing Hemoplague, the respect that was given to the AoE from Afreeca allowed it to be a very clean fight for them.
Yep. And what was that you said about Side lanes and Mickey.
Well,
There
I mean,
he is.
you know, Mickey will find farm. That's what he does. Gonna see the replay. Wait for the flash. The big
Through
story
the
here
cast to try to steal.
for CJ is the flashes. The first person Kramer flashes away from the
Double flash MadLife and BDD.
exactly. So the double respect flash after we already saw the singular flash from Kramer away from the Tempered Fate, and then Afreeca fighting as a 5-man unit with someone like ikssu in the front line.
Yep.
No way to get return damage for CJ Entus, and that's just going to be a preview of a very common, consistent teamfight strategy for the lineup that Afreeca's put together.
Yep. And with that dragon coming in, and the gold now starting to, stretch a little bit in favor of them as this next tower goes down. So they're going to start looking a little bit worrisome for CJ Entus.
Finally get down the mid lane turret. It's been their bane for the past few minutes. First turret that's fallen since very early in this game.
Yeah. We actually haven't we haven't really paid attention to Sangyoon so much. He is opting to go for the Essence Reaver and the Rapid Fire Cannon, so not going for Youmu's and Black Cleaver.
I think that people are increasingly seeing that the Armor Shred, while nice, isn't necessary if you don't have a second 80 damage dealer on the team. Only Rek'Sai doing anything resembling 80 damage, so Shred, the armor reduction is very much a team stat rather than a personal stat. So although it builds well, it's going for the standard build from the two Lucians we've seen so far tonight.
Big push into this mid side here from the majority of CJ Entus.
Oh.
Trying to get some damage down onto Mickey. Haru's coming around the side.
He's already ghosted.
That would put him all by himself. Yeah, Ghost has been used. Bar Ultimate catches MadLife. He uses the bubble. Gravity Field comes down. Mickey gonna try to juke around this one, but actually gets caught up in it. Sanguine Pool and the Proto Belt used to try to get him out the safety. Throws out the Chemo Plague. Gonna only do a little bit of damage to BDD. Waiting for that heal to come through. Wow, 500 just about coming back to him off of that Chemo Plague. And now we can see the rejoin here from Sangyoon.
This time CJ kept their formation. They're 5-man strong. They're getting turret damage.
Iksu gets caught. There's no cast though to knock him out from underneath this tower. Parallel Convergence comes in. They're gonna try to lock him up. He flashes out. Gets himself to safety. lirA goes in with the tunnel, but he's gonna get taken down by one last auto attack by Kramer.
So many from Afreeca, so low. Really smart fighting from CJ. This time they say 5-man group. They get a lot of damage onto basically every member of Afreeca, and this should be an answering mid lane turret for them. Only Mickey alive to contest it.
Well, looks like they're scared enough of Mickey. They're all just backing off.
Okay, then.
So he will be able to just go ahead and pick up this wave and keep the tower alive. So they get a kill onto lirA, but nothing else going to come of it. And Afreeca Freecs are still going to be sitting pretty with a 3.4 thousand gold lead.
Afreeca, specifically Mickey, can't find space to get the Ryze early. It feels like that's the real tipping point item. Still has the double scaling component with ability, power, and health. But Zhonya's will allow him to be that much more aggressive, proto-belting into the backline.
Yep. Now we can see Afreeca looking to play around this top side of the map. Maybe if they can get a couple picks, they can go over to this Baron that has been spawned for just about 4 minutes. You can see them getting some forward vision.
Really don't like the build from Haru. He's gone Iceborne Gauntlet as his first completed item against a big double magic damage threat from specifically the Vladimir, but the Maokai also.
Yeah.
Iceborne Gauntlet got nerfed, obviously, in the last couple of patches as well, so the damage portion is done. It's a lot of money spent on mana. We wondered where the Sapphire Crystals were going.
Yep,
the Iceborne Gauntlet as a third or fourth item with a bit of health, with a Spirit Visage, I think is fine, but as an early purchase will actually make the Gragas relatively squishy.
Yeah. Really interesting decision. Definitely learn from bubbling.
Now, if you had Iceborne Gauntlet against the other Lucian build, it'd actually be fine. If you were seeing a lot of armor penetration coming through, getting an extra big portion of armor against 25 armor penetration from the Youmu's, I think is fine. But actually, kind of outfoxed by Sangyoon going against largely the norm of the Youmu's Ghostblade Black Cleaver build.
So if you're CJ, what do you do right now? Hovering around. They have a dragon spawning in about a minute, but I believe it's only the wind, the cloud drake.
Well, CJ don't really have a comp that starts things. They could with Gragas in an optimistic fashion, but flashes are up on everyone barring Maokai and the Bard. So they're more about just fighting for objectives, and right now the only objective is spawning in 45 seconds in the next dragon. I don't know if we've caught which type it is.
I think it's a cloud.
Okay, so
pretty sure.
Still looking for a flare point to some degree. CJ have a team comp that's very much online. Muramana and Iceborne Gauntlet been completed for a while for Kramer. BDD has the new core of Viktor, speeding up and slowing with the Chaos Storm.
Well,
Mickey has no cares in the world, is Vladimir.
Yep. This is going to be a, yeah, it is Cloud. It's going to be a considerably slower game than the last.
Afreeca actually got permanent vision onto the Baron, looking to trade. It has forced CJ over.
Yep. Untara looking to go in. SnowFlower, though, pulling the trigger a little bit too soon.
lirA's in the back line.
He's waiting, but they have ikssu splitting, so that's going to send Untara down there to try to answer the wave that's built up.
They have a lot of good ward targets, you'll notice. Very deep wards onto the enemy red side jungle. So if we see Maokai go back to base, starting the Baron will probably lead to a really nice team fight for Afreeca. Yep, here we go.
Trying to bait this one out. lirA
Watch
going
the Tempered
in
Fate.
deep. Yep, Tempered Fate not going to catch anybody, though, but here comes ikssu on the backside. He's going to grab up MadLife, trying to root him down and keep him locked in. lirA coming forward, trying to get that knock up. Sangyoon going to go deep, though. Gets him with a piercing light, hits him with the Ardent Blaze as well. And he's going to go down. lirA finding the kill. ikssu taking up the front side. Looks like he may fall, but no, big heals coming through. And he's going to stay healthy. Gravity Field pulls in 3, but they cannot capitalize. It's BDD and Kramer, the only ones left. But the Sanguine pull there from Mickey comes up in time for him to stay healthy. Kramer trying to go aggressive, get that last Mystic shot in onto ikssu, but he just cannot do it. And now suddenly, CJ, 3 members down. Afreeca are looking pretty good to take this set.
And the Tempered Fate didn't need to register for it to be an effective one. It was all about buying time for Maokai to be able to get into the backline. This is exactly where it needed to be. It forced people to juke towards Afreeca. And again, more time for ikssu to get into the backline. See the Hema play come down. Mickey's happy tanking in the front line when he gets massive chunks of healing like Vladimir has access to. And they get the team fight they want. They set up for this. They started Baron. They had no intention of finishing Baron. It was all about leveraging the wards they were able to put down. The sort of ordered play that Afreeca was showing right towards their run to playoffs. This is where the team has really leveled up in making smart choices mid to late game. Because their early game was always clean. It's the mid to late game where they used to falter.
Yep. Now we can see off the backside of those picks, 5,000. Separating these guys. The ping's coming out on the Dragon, so they might go ahead and start this one up. Looks like they will, so this will give them a Drake advantage here. Cloud and Mountain, then Mountain on the other side for CJ.
CJ finally have an Aegis, as Nami's been able to put one together. Haru going for the Iceborne Gauntlet, denied them an early locket that would have been so useful. You might say, okay, but it's only Vladimir, Maokai's a tank, but we just saw a game where Maokai put out 30,000 damage to be second on his team and 6,000 damage ahead of an enemy Ryze over a 50-minute game. And that Ryze wasn't doing poorly, so lets you know that Maokai's latent damage over a team fight is very considerable.
Yep. And it's a double locket on the side of the Afreeca Freecs, so you have that much more shielding that you have to try to go through. Already fighting from a disadvantage.
Double locket and a Maokai. Cool magic damage you got there.
Mitigation for days.
And ikssu doesn't have teleport, but they're still going to park him in the bot lane. Worth noting that he has the reliable interrupts onto Untara, so they're not so worried about there being a 5v4 disadvantage.
Yeah, Arcane Smash is a pretty quick cooldown right now. Oh, Tempered Fate goes out. TP's coming in, though. And we can see ikssu already on the run, trying to get up there. Only going to be at the river, however. lirA's going to fall. Mickey gets sucked in to that gravity field. Gets popped up in the air as well by the bubble. Can he get out of this one? Goes into the Sanguine Pool. They're firing back. Gets some good damage onto Untara and Haru. That's going to be the stun coming through onto Kramer. And they can pop him. SnowFlower finding the kill. Haru on the run. Here comes a magical journey. He should be going down. And he is after they lock up BDD. ikssu going to be the one finding that kill. Haru's still just on the run, trying to get out of here. But it looks like this might just be an ace as ikssu goes forward, locks down the Ekko. SnowFlower trying to get the double kill for the fight. But yeah, this is just a matter of time before this happens. Haru getting stunned. Up, one more auto attack. He falls, and now it's Untara's turn. Tries to snap back, but ikssu's waiting for him. He gets locked up, and he is going to go down. The
Battle Bard.
Yeah.
Yeah, get it, get it. Get it, SnowFlower.
Damn, there we go. And Mickey finishes off for the kill. That's going to be the ace coming in. And that's going to be the Baron going over to the Freecs.
Yep, lirA managed to get in very quickly from spawn.
Yeah, that was a messy
Rek'Sai
fight.
ultimate. Well, it was a very sustained, heavy fight, very extended as a result. But now they have a lot of tanky DPS and a Bard to DPS down this Baron. So unless Ezreal can get a very optimistic steal, this should go over to Afreeca Freecs.
Well, he doesn't even have the True Shot Barrage right yet.
No, you're right. Still a couple of seconds off cooldown. Won't even get in range for a Q.
Nope. So goes over. That's a massive gold lead now here for Afreeca Freecs just 31 minutes into this game. We'll take another look at this one.
So remember,
looking bad.
Ekko's going to get there. Maokai doesn't. This will be a 5v4 for the majority. Nice little Chaos Storm over the wall. lirA dies first, but Mickey is on late game Vladimir. And this guy was always known for his trolling and his troll pooling, and nothing has changed. He gets so low, but we'll rejoin this fight soon. The re-engage. Sangyoon looks like he's going to have a pentakill come through, but actually gets really well turned on and DPS down. But watch Mickey on the backside. Protobelt's in to kill MadLife with basically a single rotation into the Sangyoon pool. And then Bard and Ikssu are full health. Maokai once again being a tank assassin damage dealer thing of all descriptions, basically every subcategory in League of Legends being fulfilled by Maokai in this series. And SnowFlower wants some KDA.
Yep, and he got some KDA, picking up 2 kills in that fight.
Good job, Vladimir. You're back. You're back in the meta. This will not be the last Vladimir we see.
No, it will not be. Now 10-4 the scoreline here. Things are looking pretty grim for CJ and their fans out there across the world.
It's been a lot better performance by Afreeca Freecs in Game 2, it's worth noting.
Yes, yes it has been. Game 1 was very much the heart attack game for CJ fans. This is more the comatose phase.
Has been some semblance of inevitability. We wondered how CJ would regroup from what was a very, very close performance in Game 1. And predictably, this young lineup just hasn't had the goal to stick together in a long series against a team they're outmatched against, the Afreeca Freecs.
Yep. Rough stuff from CJ.
Life of a CJ fan.
Life of a CJ fan.
Feels bad, man.
Pretty much. I mean, I don't know. Would you rather be a CJ fan or a Longju fan?
I think I just jumped to the LPL at that point.
It comes down to this.
Ghost pop by Mickey.
Yeah, that it is. They throw the Bard ultimate yet again, just trying to zone them. Mickey goes in deep. Look at the damage on a Kramer. That's still going to be the Hemoblade coming out, and he almost finishes him off. Mickey still living, though. MadLife, 4 members, trying to hightail it back to the fountain. Untara going to be the only one brave enough sticking around as Haru goes down, and Mickey fearlessly going to stick in here. Super creeps coming in on the mid side. Cannon minions down in the bot. They're on to the Nexus Towers here in just 33.5 minutes. The first one's going to fall. Untara is going to get popped. He's going to go down. lirA just zoning them back into the fountain. They're just trying to desperately kill the Vladimir, but they can't find it. Now Nexus exposed. Looks like this is going to be the game and the set for Afreeca Freecs. They just cannot kill this goddamn Vladimir. Mickey sticking in for all of eternity. And that is going to be the game. Afreeca Freecs 2-0 over CJ Entus, who now find themselves 0-6 on the split.
You know, we haven't seen a Mickey special in quite a while, but he's found his new troll champion. He tried to make it happen with the face-first Corki. He's known for his aggression on other champions, but the Vladimir suits his playstyle to a T. Best performance from Mickey that we've seen in a long time, but the Afreeca Freecs, they turn on the style, they turn on the class. These were not things we would have associated with Afreeca Freecs until the second half of spring season. But once again, 2 out of 3 series, and Samsung series accepted. Afreeca look like once again they're trying to make that march towards playoffs.
Yep. You saw right there, fan, on the screen of the Afreeca Freecs SnowFlower poster, but CJ, I think it's time. I think it's time to pull the trigger, put in Ghost. Let's see a change, a mix-up, something's gonna happen.
And look, it doesn't feel great to rag on CJ junglers. It's kind of been a thing since the start of last season with bubbling, but Haru's build this game cost them so much.
Yeah.
Double Sapphire Crystal sitting on that, already getting no power out of it, then turning into an Iceborne Gauntlet against Vladimir Maokai. It just, he needed health, he needed magic resist, they needed a locket like anything, anyone's business.
Even in this game, you can see Kramer still managing to do the most damage, and BDD was a close second, but they just never resulted in kills.
Because everyone else just died at Kilios. They put out some damage, but the front line was so weak because Gragas needed to be a staple of that front line, and he was flimsy at best in terms of being a frontline tank.
Yeah, I mean, just the Gragas pick in general still a little bit confusing. I think maybe the Elise, which was open, might have been better. You can create more pick potential with the Cocoon, with the follow-up on the bubble from the Nami.
SnowFlower ended up with 100% kill participation in that game, 3-1-10. We saw him skulking around for kills in the last fight.
Yeah.
A lot of smiles on the face of Afreeca. They needed this steadying win because after that pretty one-note loss against Samsung, you couldn't help but get a bit worried that the season would go as troubling as it did for Afreeca at the start of spring.
Yep. Well, with this win, that's going to bring them to a +2 scoreline. And I believe that's actually going to net them 4th place at the moment. We'll see the standings in a little bit, but your MVP from Game 2 is SnowFlower, so he will be joining lirA here for an interview. 100% kill contribution, really utilizing the mobility of that bar to make plays around the map.
And look, both MadLife and SnowFlower had excellent